pra cima. Vem joga a bunda 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 pra cima. Joga a bunda pra cima, vem joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima, vem joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima, vem joga a bunda pra cima, 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 vem joga a bunda pra cima, joga a bunda pra cima. 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 Joga a bunda pra cima.
Well, hello once again, everybody, and welcome back to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Soccers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Happy New Year. 2026 has arrived, and your show is back from holiday break. Craig Elston, Tony Sanchez here with you for Season 8, Episode 7, titled, as Meatloaf once sang, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Soccers got 6 out of the 9 points. And the 3 they dropped, look, most teams would have dropped them. Let's just put it that way. El Señor Sanchez, ¿cómo estás, amigo?
I'm doing good, refreshed, came down a mountain. I was enjoying myself over this holiday season and got some Soccers in between. And honestly, it felt nice. It felt nice to be entre familia. It was a lot of the family, the Soccers family. And yeah, I mean, some results that we're a little, like you said, not the best, but still, there's hope from where we were maybe on the last time we spoke.
I agree. I think overall it was a stabilizing week for the San Diego Soccers, and we're going to get into it on the show tonight. Here's what we got. We got 3 match recaps for you. Soccers Tacoma, Soccers Strikers, Soccers Tacoma. We're going to do it all. 3 match recaps, 1 great guest. Nick Perera will be joining us. We normally do that at the bottom of the hour. With 3 match recaps, it'll probably be closer to 6:45. But Nick will be joining us live to chat through the week that was, facing his former team twice, how the club has operated, and going forward into an absolutely brutal month of January from a travel and game standpoint. We'll get through it all with Nikki and all the match recaps with you. Then in MASL news, is this standings table right now, today, January 7th, the most useless in the history of the league, other than like week 1 standings? Maybe. We'll explain why I'm feeling that way about that. We'll look at how AI and weird scheduling has left this season undefined, even though some teams are approaching the halfway mark. And it's January 7th. In soccer's news, we got new young players. We got tons of injuries. We got a road trip without end. It is all ahead on Season 8, Episode 7 of Soccer's Overtime. If you enjoy the program, we say thanks to you for being here. If you don't enjoy the program, welcome, Empire fans. I keyed. No, but thanks to everyone who is here. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up button. Give us that quick like. It's going to help some other Sockers fan find us somewhere along the road. Of course, hit the subscription bell to make sure you're kept alert every time Soccer's Overtime and SanDiego.Futbol goes live. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, and you can leave us a 5-star rating, a kind written review. Elma Fudd, happy. Then we're going to be very thankful to you. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for supporting the Major Arena Soccer League and for being here on a Wednesday night for Soccer's Overtime. Okay, let's dive in. We got so many games, and
Yeah, we do.
I got to say, as we kick this off, that, it's all about perspective, right? All the time. Results, comparisons, your general feeling about something. It's all about perspective. Tuesday night last week, going into the Soccer's home match, coming out of the holiday break against Tacoma, and I filled you in pretty good, Tony. Like, I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to put people on blast. I'm just going to say I got a couple of the most depressing updates that I had gotten about the San Diego Sockers in a very long time. And it started with Chris Toth having a broken finger and being out for, they're saying 6 weeks, but it could be 2 or 3 months, just depending on how the finger heals and how everything settles, right? Then you've got Gabriel Costa, Sebastian Mendez, Luis Morales leaving for Kings Cup, KWC Brazil. And we were told, enjoy what you see on Tuesday with Gabby and with Mendez, because they're going to be on a plane Wednesday for Rio, and they're going to be out of here, and you won't see them until the end of the month. Then we got more news. Hey, Taylor Bond is out, and he's going to be out for the weekend. Leo, who came back on the 12th and was so important to the team's success, nope, he's out on the 30th to knee issues acting up. Luis Morales, who was so huge on the 12th, gone and expected to be gone in Brazil for weeks to come. And all of this and other stuff that I'm not even saying right now was all like presented like, hey, 2 weeks happened and the Sockers went to pot. Just we had a holiday break. You come back. What happened? It's like the parents coming back from their vacation that they left their teenage son or daughter in charge of the house, and you show up one day early and you're like, what the hell happened to this place? That's how I felt coming into Tuesday. So imagine our surprise as we start to roll in the highlights as to what happened on Tuesday, which was the San Diego Sockers welcomed in a 3-0 Tacoma Stars team, and a team that was feeling very high on the hog, and then proceeded to shellac the Stars. Right there, you could mark it 9:20 in the first quarter. Probably the toughest and hardest save for Boris Pardo to make in the night, a 0-0 game, and he gets that right arm extended. Then shortly after, Taylor Bond, who would be on the bench to start the second half, and we didn't see him all weekend. Bondo gets it started with 1-0, Tony, and just continuing, which we hope will continue with health, of this renaissance season for Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a potential early MVP, right? Like, Bondo has been incredibly important, making those hard runs, being a physical presence, and scoring, getting those points. He's been incredibly important for the San Diego Sockers, having the wins that they have this season.
Here you see 2-0. That was actually a great perspective shot of Jamel Cox not following his runner aggressively enough. As he saw Sebastian Mendez go over his right shoulder running, he started jogging back into the play without sprinting. Mendez wound up with his foot open. If you just look at Cox, watch Cox. Oh, he accelerated way too late. And you'll see this in our last highlight in the other direction. But getting back on defense is a little bit of everything. And right there, Sockers turn 1-0 into 2-0. Then it's not too much longer that you get a steal right at midfield, pushed forward to Craig Childs. Charlie gets the steal. Charlie gets the ball back, puts it home. Beautiful setup, 3-0 San Diego. First point of the year for the Sockers captain on that play. And after we had seen the Sockers take early leads and then give them up quickly, Tony, this third goal especially made you feel like, okay, this Tuesday night might be the Sockers' night.
Yeah, it felt like an avalanche of just offense, something that the San Diego Sockers were kind of needing in making sure that they're sustainable with this. Because if they're going to receive it on the back end, they better get ahead on the score tally, because you don't know what the soccer season is going to be at this point. But it looked very good as far as like the consistency of the attacks. It just looked very free flowing out there for the Sockers. It just kind of some WD-40 was found at training ground for some of these players.
Gabi Costa shot kicked away. Luis Pirueta, that came after Drew Ruggles got the power play, induced it by getting his dreadlocks yanked by Tyler John. Just seconds left in the power play. Mendez going for it. Second shot. Sockers come up empty on that one. But it doesn't mean they're going to come up empty on the half, as Tavoy Morgan, his first true offensive contribution of the year. Good hold-up play, single coverage. He backs his man down, waits, reads Charlie's run, and feeds him the ball. Charlie, little stutter step in the crease to get around a guy, and it's 4-0.
Very happy to see Tavoy get on this. And in this, I was a sideline reporter, so I had a very different perspective. And something that I noticed is that the entire team is rooting for Tavoy for that moment. And to get that goal is just very huge for him and his confidence moving forward as well.
4-0 is going, well, oopsie daisy for the Sockers as they get called for too many men on the floor, something that Tacoma would give back to them in spades a couple of days later. But shorthanded, all of a sudden, look at this. Sloppy pass, Mitchell clears, then Cerda sends it up. Here's Pacheco. He's got room, sends it out. Here's Mendez, turns to the left foot, buries it. Luis Pirueta expecting it far post. Sebastian puts it near post. Wrong foot's the keeper. And all of a sudden, shorthanded goal, 5-0 San Diego. And truly the route's on here because Tacoma was on the power play trying to get a goal to reverse momentum. And instead, not only do they not score a power play goal, they concede shorthanded and really look sloppy doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a dominant play of the game, and that really tells you the story of how this went. And the Sockers were moving forward and answering every question that we could have potentially had moving into this game. And even with the shorthanded hole, the way that Sebastian had worked into this game, and on the offensive side, you can tell that there was a consistency that they wanted to score and score and score. And then on the other side, Boris, man.
Excellent right there. Ball kicked off the line by Bebe. Boris gets the restart, chucks it up. That'll be happening a little bit later, just momentarily. Here's another foul and a card as Tavoy gets drilled. And Sockers go back on the man advantage. And it takes them, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds to score the power play goal. 9, I guess, officially, as Mendez, who has been getting left alone on those back post setups for the most part. It's a hard pass to make through the defense, across the defense, but boy, talk about perfection here, Tony. Charlie putting it right on Sebastian's foot and the first time finish off of that.
Yeah, and that's what you need from a player like Mendez. Like, he needs that confidence early on to make sure that he can go ahead and take that first time shot. It's not a difficult, it's a difficult, play to make. And the way it just short hops right before and to be able to put your foot right through it, it's a very, very difficult shot to complete.
Right there, maybe your best save of the night for Boris Pardo. One-handed leaping to deflect Jamel Cox's shot up over the crossbar. all of a sudden 6-0, and you start thinking about the whoopsie 7-0.
Literal whoopsie. Like he did. I don't know. Like he said that he saw that go in, ricochet off his foot, but he didn't see it go in. He was like, "Why are people celebrating?" Oh, okay.
Pretty amazing. He's just trying to block a pass. Meanwhile, there's another routine save for Boris, but you're seeing all the saves because now it's 7-0. So the real question is not as Drew saves a goal right there. And then the ball is popped into Boris's hands, and then Boris throws it out. And there's Charlie to finish past Piroueta and make it 8-0. And now we got 13:41 left in the game. The score is Snowman to Bagel. And the only question left in the match is, can Boris Pardo keep that bagel? And will Tacoma do something dangerous to put the shutout in jeopardy? 60 minutes of indoor to shut out a team, almost impossible. Only 2 modern regular season shutouts for the Sockers since 2009. But I got to say, this fourth quarter, as we watch through the rest of the highlights, that's right on frame, right at Boris. Like, Tacoma didn't have a special offensive night. Let's just put it that way. They didn't make any real dynamic, exciting plays. And that is good credit to the Sockers defense, but also you look at this. This is 4v1. They just shot it right at Boris. And, he made the save. Great save. Good save. In no way diminishing. This is a team effort. But when you interviewed Boris after the match and he pointed at everyone and said it was these guys, it was them, I think that's what he meant is, you look at this, and not just to be magnanimous, but really the Sockers didn't give Tacoma open lanes, didn't give them great opportunities to shoot. And when they did, they put it right at Pardo. And a couple of times that they could have gotten a goal, guys kicked it off the line, the horn sounds, and here it is, a very special moment in any keeper's career, and especially the all-time wins leader of the San Diego Sockers. He has a moment for his supporters, and then Taylor Bond comes over to give him a hug, and you could see the emotion with Boris Pardo as well, because I tell you what, I don't know that he came into the year thinking he was going to have a shutout this year, Boris Pardo. And to do this in the first game that the Sockers know that they're not going to have Chris Toth for a long time. What an incredible moment for Boris, but for the Sockers team as well.
Yeah, a special night in a special form like this. This is a game that a goalkeeper dreams about, and to get it this late in the season and to see the support and the unselfishness that Boris was able to showcase and really highlight his teammates as well shows to the type of leader that he is. Like, he's like, this is a once in a career moment. He enjoyed it. He thanked everybody who was there, gave everybody a Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, and just didn't make the moment about himself where he could have, and he had every right to. And that speaks volumes in terms of leadership. And from here on out, right? Like, look, if he's doing these types of things at this point in his career, all those young players have your night, have your special. This is the veterans are showing you how. This is how you do with Sockers. You have these special type of moments here with the San Diego Sockers at Front Wave Arena. Go for it. Go for that brass ring. And I'm really happy to be able to have seen that. And in minute 13, you pointed out too, it was already 8-0. That bench was lit up for Boris. Like, that was the mission to be accomplished. Let's get Boris this shutout. It's possible. So the Stars, you know what? They're getting in their own way. But even then, let's be extra careful to make sure to do something cool for Boris. And let me tell you, it was really cool being able to be next to the bench and just feel that next to them and to get it done. It was really cool to see live.
If it was the only game of the week, it would have really been a special game for the San Diego Sockers, like a really, really special game. And so I'm glad we're going with it first, not only chronologically, but because it really does deserve highlighting. Even if Tacoma was not playing a great game, they got shut out, and even if Boris only had to make like one, maybe two really kind of, Oof. Saves. He made them. He made them. And he kept everything in line. And the organizing principle of a goalkeeper who has a shutout, you can't just look at the saves. You got to think about all of the time that they spent positioning the defense, making sure that the free kick defense is right, keeping the power play defense online. Sockers did it all. They stopped a penalty kill. They scored on a power play. They scored on even strength. They scored on a goalkeeper throwout. It was just a complete game for the Sockers. For the Stars, it was their first loss of the year. Obviously, they get full revenge coming up on Sunday. Spoiler alert. But just a beautiful night overall. And for Boris, something really, really special because, if you think about like who are the legacy goalkeepers in the modern era for the San Diego Sockers, you start with Riley Swift in the early PASL days, and he was succeeded by Chris Toth. And Chris Toth was the starting keeper for this team in the mid-teens. And then he got traded to Ontario for Leo, and Boris Pardo became the starting keeper in 2018 and the regular starting keeper. He had been splitting time with Chris the couple years before that. He became the full-time starter, and his name is indelibly written, right next to guys like Zoltan Toth and Victor Noguera and Jimmy Gorsick, like classic, and Alan Mayer, like classic Sockers goalkeepers over the years. So now to know that in the modern era, Riley got one, Chris got one, and now Boris has one. Really, really cool, really appropriate, which makes it really special.
Yeah, I like it when goalkeepers are able to get their flowers and really get their flowers in their playing days. And it's rare. Like again, it's rare to not get scored on in such a fast paced sort of situation. And to really see a veteran be able to dig deep and go to that next level really is really special to see. And again, I hope it lights a fire under some of these young players to move forward and really, see what it means to be next to greatness. And now it's your turn. Let's go ahead and do some of those things too.
Yeah, without question, and I'll probably say it at the end of the three reels, but without question, the player of the week for the Sockers was Boris Pardo. For a 41-year-old goalkeeper who came into the year seeing the team sign Chris Toth, knowing that, like probably best case scenario, they're splitting the net, but maybe it's going to evolve into a different situation, being the starter for the first two games and having the team be 0-2, seeing Chris go in there and get the first win, it would have been very easy to kind of have yourself go a different direction. And instead, Boris stepped up and did something that would be really hard for a 31-year-old goalkeeper to do and pretty darn hard for a 21-year-old goalkeeper to do, which is play 3 games in 6 days, including the last 2 of the 3 being back-to-back on the weekend with ridiculous travel, no sleep, all the hardship possible. And for him to play every minute, save for when the Sockers went 6th attacker, late against Tacoma, and acquit himself the way he did, I just want to say the folks who voted Paulo Nascimento the goalkeeper of the week this year, y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy. And that was the dumbest vote of the year. And I hope and pray for the sake of the Major Arena Soccer League that remains the dumbest vote of the year, because if you're going to do dumber than that, it's going to be really bad, because Paulo was fine. He was good. Did he get a shutout? Did he get a bleeping shutout? If I'm Boris, bless you, Boris. If I'm Boris and I see that, I'm saying, what the curse word do I need to do? What, 2 shutouts? Like what do I need to do to get goalkeeper of the week? That should have been locked in for literally every voter in the league when he got the shutout on Tuesday. Like, well, we've resolved that one. I know what my vote is on Monday. Let's see the rest of the games of the week. And then he follows it up by giving up 3 goals and another win. And then, oh no, he gave up 4 goals. 5, but one of them's in a shootout. 8 of 12 on the official save numbers. Like, are you bleeping me? Are you actually, like, what? What does it take? Good that Charlie got Offensive Player of the Week, but Boris not getting Goalkeeper of the Week, absolute clown show. Every single one of you guys and gals, or however you decide to identify yourself, whoever voted and didn't vote Boris, check yourself. You played yourself. Absolute joke. Anyways.
If you're looking at this, even in a time capsule, like, like about baseball, you put a situation, you got a man on third, you got this and this and this, you can just put yourself there. The Sockers were going in after giving up, let's see, what was it? 16 goals, and then went in to play Tacoma. The 3-0, surprising everybody. Tacoma with their speed, their stealth, their offense. Everybody was taken off balance, and then to come out with a shutout in those circumstances, it's greatness. That's just plain greatness, and it's a real shame it wasn't recognized. And I know Boris is just like, well, it's something that could have won, sure, but he's not taking it into heart, maybe, or. Is it going to light the biggest fire that you've ever seen in a player?
I haven't talked to him about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that he wasn't happy. That he wasn't happy on Tuesday. How could he? How could he? It's one of those things. You want to be humble.
Yeah.
And he was a gentleman after the game, but it's like, what more do you need to do? First off, he's 41 just for starting 3 games.
Yeah.
He should have got Goalkeeper of the Week. But starting 3 games, shutting out 1, winning 2, playing perfectly fine in the third when everything was against the team. Like, to me, for him not to win Goalkeeper of the Week, he would have had to have given up 10 in a different game, or 8. Or something, like really just stepped on it, in the third game. And that did not happen. So anyways, that was a joke. Let's get to Saturday. Saturday, a special night before we hit the reel, first game for the Major Arena Soccer League on Fox Sports. And in this case, FS2, which, is a cable channel among other cable channels. But I saw plenty of people saying like, hey, I don't have to plug my laptop into my TV tonight, or I don't have to go find the streaming site tonight. I can just open up, and maybe just because I've been a cord cut person for so long, it doesn't like kind of stick with me the same way, but nonetheless, it was great to be on Fox. But I think more importantly, and we knew this because the league told us straight up, Tony, was like, tonight is a chance to highlight the league and to put on a broadcast that will serve as an advert for the league to maybe get more games on Fox Sports and to grow a partnership going forward. Hey, no pressure, guys. Just put on the best broadcast of the year, and let's see if we can have a great game that'll serve as an advert for the league. So in that sense, my man, 4-3 San Diego, visiting team comes back. Team captain gets his first goal of the year as the game winner. 3-line pass on what would have been a dagger goal gives them one last chance. Like the horror movie villain just popping out of the bathtub at the end, like one last chance for Empire. I think they pretty much got everything, all boxes ticked on this one.
Yeah, and I mean the niche qualities of indoor soccer were highlighted, like you said, like the 3 lines. As somebody who's coming into this, like, wait, what's going on? Even in the arena, I heard, the people cheering and wow, goal and this and this and this. It took a while for the message to get across, but once it did, it's just like, oh my God, are we going to overtime with this? There's people who'd be discovering that there's overtime in the sport. Just, it was a wonderful opportunity. And again, being next to that bench, like just, there's a little hole that I can hear and kind of chime in to Cheeky and Coach Rene, and I can feel what's coming out. I can hear what's coming out of there in some of these calls, and and some drama with the refereeing. It just had everything. I was very happy that was the game that was highlighted too.
Well, let's get to the highlight reel. 6:30 already on the show, so we might play this and then bring on Nick. But nonetheless, here we go with the Sockers and the Strikers. San Diego wearing the road whites for the first time at home. Brian Orozco had a great game for Empire, just unadulterated, had a great game. Now here, this could have been an early power play against San Diego, but a quality challenge by Phil Salvaggio, and Emoda able to find for the second straight game hair yank against Drew Ruggles. This one wasn't called, so Drew elbowed Andy Reyes, who did it. And in his first of multiple reversals on the night, Ryan Sigage eliminated that power play. Robert Palmer getting into it with Boris. Boris getting into it with key players from the opposition became a weekend theme. As we know, didn't quite go as well with Tyler John, but Boris indicating there that Palmer gave him a little elbow. And then here's Felipe, great kick save. Brian Orozco, as Felipe looks for his first of the year, still scoreless. First comes, and let's pause it right there just to note, first comes because on a ball that was popped into the air, Luis Morales brought it down, shot first time, and Charlie Gonzalez cleaned up. But hang on, hold on, wait a second. Why is Luis Morales there? I thought he was in Brazil.
Yeah, that's what I was scheduled to read and often to everybody at FS2.
He, in fact, and Sebastian Mendez made a choice to miss one game for Team USA at Kings League in order to play and get paid for 2 Sockers games on the weekend. Because apparently they get paid for games, not practices at Kings League. I mean, no real surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
But for those 2 young guys to sign up for the weekend, that gave the weekend hope. Because you come off of Tuesday's match, and then Taylor Bond gets hurt as well. The club signs 3 kids off the street. One of the kids gets hurt. I couldn't believe it when the trainer told me. I was like, okay, well, what's his number? And don't worry, he's 3 or 4 weeks away. I go, what do you mean?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, well, he got hurt at practice. Is anyone not hurt? Was of course my follow-up question. So the fact that they had those 2 young legs to run, straight up to me, that's a difference maker for the weekend, Tony.
Yeah, especially in a position in the forward side of things where you're kind of not getting goals from Tavoy as much as you have. Your captain in Craig Childs is maybe a step, into that retirement. That is his retirement season, so he knows that he has very small windows to go ahead and take opportunities, which he does in this game. But I'm glad to see that a young duo was able to make that much of an impact here, because you have elements like Pacheco who are. Man, I can't wait for him to have a breakout game for sure. And it's coming. It's very, very close. But I just love seeing Mendez out there and his hustle and the way that Morales is able to implement that futsal style. Like, they're a plus. They're better, the Sockers, when they are present, but especially this weekend. It was water in a desert for sure.
All right, let's keep rolling now. As there is 1-0, and Charlie gets his team leading 8th goal of the year. Nice and easy. Brian made a great point on the game broadcast about how the Sockers have more ability to attack rebounds and to dig out plays like that compared to Empire, because they don't have their goalkeeper out of position. So they have the ability to do that, knowing that if they make a mistake, it's not going to be in the opposite net like 2.5 seconds later. So just keep that in mind for Obasi 2.0, but 1-0 right there for San Diego, and getting that other look there. Luis picking that off of a blocked shot. Nick Perera shooting on a set piece and was blocked out of the air. Okay, continuing forward, lovely save by Boris. He's scrambling, point blank miss by Empire right there. Alami had the head open. Foul, good save, big save by Boris Pardo. Then it's whoop, Luis Morales. Turns his defender, Ali Somo, rips it far post. Palmer can't get there, 2-zip. And as I said in the broadcast, thanks for showing up, Luis Morales. Thank you for being here, sir. Your presence is appreciated for the Sockers.
Yeah, and I mean it's that that is exactly why the Sockers are better, because he has that body, had speed. He can turn something in from nothing and just take it alone. Like in the moment he turned and saw clear head for blue turf, he's like, I'm scoring this. Like he made that decision in that moment, and usually it happens. And I'm glad that I'm so glad he was there.
Tavoy at that point was still in search of his first goal of the year, and he hits post. Absolutely brutal. Here's shot blocked out, and Sebastian runs it down. Great save, Orozco. Once again, 2-0. Luis tries again. Blocked shot, Palmer. Robert Palmer just doing Robert Palmer things as he always does. And then here's Nick beating Palmer with a chest trap, clinical turn, and finish. A goal we've seen Nick score probably 100-something times in his career. And he scored it again, but then the officials took this one away.
Yeah. Even going into the bench, having the ball to give to the fans, he's like, we gotta hold on this one, guys, as they might take this away from me and say that it was a handball. I think under review said it was with the left hand that he makes contact.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're saying, and Ryan is saying that there was contact made on the trap.
Okay.
That the trap came from chest down to arm or elbow. Look for yourself. I personally, I think it was a bad angle. I don't think it was a clean angle. I don't think it's 4K. And I personally think Nick got hosed on that one. I think it was a legit goal. And the one thing I would say is I'm very surprised that they looked at that as clear and obvious.
Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of being able to overturn, because I need to see it. And I've seen balls that were far more obvious as handballs not be called handballs. I saw one the last time Empire was in town that was not called a handball. That was a much more obvious handball. So this was a huge play in the game because right there, was it the forearm instead of the chest? Maybe it was. But instead of 3-0, it's 2-0. And just a little bit later, Sebastian Mendez, who's going to get pushed around all the time, gets his hand up because he's angry, gets hit for blue card. Of course, Seb is going to 6 foul out of this game. Power play. And let's give Munir Alami a lot of credit right here. Great play. Running back heel / dummy, gets the ball to Anthony Powell. That's the way to confuse a defense indoors. That's the way to get a power play goal. And now Empire's on the board.
Yeah, Empire's this team where if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, and you really don't want to give confidence to this young squad that as soon as they get a couple of just finesse goals here and really start to showcase and give an opportunity, they'll put you in situations like this. Like this should have never happened as a goal, but yet here they are. They created the circumstances, and now you're tied 2-2.
Yeah, this is just one of those goals. You're going to give up a couple of them every year where someone just makes a shot and something random happens and it goes off the back of your leg and it's an own goal. And it's not like Mitchell played it, really badly. I think he thought maybe that Felipe was going to make contact. And so he was positioning for where the ball might deflect. And instead it comes right to him. Phil is mad. Phil, what are you doing, buddy? Phil just meanwhile is out of the field yelling. Now all of a sudden it's 2-2. And here we see Empire get extremely confused and called for too many men on the floor. And the Sockers didn't do a great job of converting on these particular calls. But here, that's because inch off for Charlie Gonzalez, hits the crossbar. Then into the third quarter now, Wallace Scora, Fabian. Can't leave Fabian open. All you got to do is put a man between yourself and, put yourself between Fabian and goal, and Fabian can't score. But if you give him an opening, he will shoot. And if he shoots, it's probably going to be on frame. And you're going to have to make a save or else it's a goal. And that's how Marco's got 62, I think, 63 now goals in the MASL. Here, great opportunity. Starting to work through Nick Perera. And you saw that more and more as the weekend went on. Working through to Nick Perera. Nick will find Tavoy on the back post. And what a wonderful way for Tavoy Morgan to get his first goal of the year. And as you can see, wipes the ghosts away. As you said, down on the bench. This is something the Sockers were looking for Tavoy to score.
Yeah, they've been looking for it, and they've been, a little frustrated as there's times where Tavoy has a chance to go forward maybe, but he gets fouled and it's not called. And it was just a collective effort that really saw this moment. Hey, Nick to Tavoy. That was originally going to be the game plan coming into this year. And that's good for everybody. And yeah, just wipe that off. He wasn't the only player to do that gesture in this match, actually.
As we will see shortly, another too many men call against Empire. They almost really could have had a third a little bit later in the match. And what do we got? We got a big old blurry screen. Is that blurry for you too, or is it just me?
It's not blurry for me. Let me reload.
Could be my bad. All right, let's check it out. 3-3, 8 minutes. Look at, we got both our forwards out there. This is right after the power play ends, by the way. Sockers didn't score on the power play, but as we've seen so many times, Tony, the power play can last like 2 minutes and 10 seconds. It really can, because players have got to get back into position. And right there, just why you have a Nick Perera on the team is his calmness in moments like that, in tight quarters. He could have shot, he could have panicked, he could have gotten froggy. Instead, he makes the very, very simple play, and he just gets it to the captain. Captain finally, right in front of net, gets one. No post this time, no crossbar, no robbery, just a goal. And 4-3, and the monkey off the back of Craig Childs as well.
Yeah, again, it's what you wanted this season to be when you have Nick Perera and this team. The moment you sign him, you want moments like that, and to be able to find a tying moment and a victory, and what ended up being the game winning goal, it's perfect. And I'm glad that they're finding that form, but I'm also concerned with how sustainable is that, as they have a lot of games in this schedule. As we see in the next game, it just might not be sustainable so much on a 3-game basis in a weekend. But for right now, hey, the Sockers were able to pull it out and still, once again, put Obasi ball. It's 2-1. 2-1, Obasi.
Well, of course, we just saw what could have been the game-winning moment, and Charlie Gonzalez's shot just hits over the yellow line. So it's a 3-line pass. It's not a shot on net. There's no icing exclusion like that. So you get this yellow line free kick, and tried to get a shot to Fabian. But to be honest, I thought that was just really weak play design by Empire right there. Pass it right in front of the defense to the player that is going to shoot. All the defense had to do was just stay on the mark, and the game was over. So thank you for not a great free kick game plan on that one, Anua. And putting this game in the rearview mirror for the Sockers, a huge win, 6 points at home, 2 straight home wins. This was 3 wins in a row for San Diego, got them up to 10 points. And I think dealing Empire a 5th straight loss also is extremely important, because, and we'll be getting to Nikki here really quick, but just kind of wrapping our thoughts on this match. Empire has played 6 matches, Tony, and they've scored 18 goals. And, simple third-grade math reminds you that's 3 goals a game. And in this match, they got 3 goals. And for everything that the goalkeeper out Obasi system did to confuse people last year, what it's not doing is creating offense. And I really appreciated Brian Farber's commentary on the match broadcast about this, explaining that every player on the field is affected when the goalkeeper comes out. It's a split focus because now you're not just thinking about attacking, you're thinking about precision possession, and possession becomes paramount over attack. And I really think we're seeing that. And for the first 4 or 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes of that first quarter, they weren't sending Orozco out. They were kind of playing 5v5 more traditionally. And then Orozco started coming up and they got right back into their system. It wasn't maybe as aggressive in terms of sending the keeper forward as we saw in match one, but nonetheless, they were doing it. And I just don't think it's helping them almost at all.
Yeah, no, it's a situation where I can see, also the last year, Sockers were able to figure this out after seeing them a couple of times, but it's interesting just the way that Empire is really kind of toying and just almost trying to find things that aren't as successful for them. And in that way, the Sockers are able to come back and really expose them once again. And you also have deficiencies in terms of performances from individuals. I'm looking at Justin Stinson, like when he's very much involved in Empire's offense and play style, Fabian is somebody who you just cannot leave in those situations, or even him himself. And I think that after a couple of weeks, it's really catching up to Empire. Just really, I don't know. They can't be relying on 3 goals per match because they're going to be scored on a lot more as the season goes.
Well, I heard whispers on Saturday before the game that if Empire lost, that it could be consequential. And nothing's happened. They're playing Thursday at home against Tacoma, I think. But we shall see, because, it'd be tough to go from coach of the year to like mid-season change or something. But Empire, expectations have been the thief of joy for that franchise ever since the COVID season. And, they came in this year with some expectations. They won game 1, and now they've lost 5 in a row. And over the course of those 5 games, they've scored 13 goals. So pretty yikes. Okay, well, enough about them. Striking Fury can talk more about Empire. We've got one more highlight reel to play, but we're going to play it afterwards, because right now I'm very pleased and thrilled, as always, to be joined by the veteran forward, Nick Perera, making a return appearance to Soccer's Overtime to help talk us through the week that was. Nicky, how the legs feeling after 3 games in 6 days and 2 flights?
Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. Feels like the COVID season again, when we went to Florida and played back to back after 2 weeks of everybody sitting at home wearing masks. So it was hard. I mean, it was very, very difficult. I think that, I don't know, somebody can pull the data, I'm sure, but I would like to see the data on teams that play on the back night against a rested team, what the success rate there is.
Yeah, it's like almost all wins.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It's one of the things.
It's got to be pretty close to beating Chihuahua and Chihuahua, right?
Yeah, it's lying in wait advantage is what I call it. The lying in wait advantage. You get to sit at home and rest. The other team plays and is traveling the morning that you're, cleaning up your breakfast dishes. they're at baggage claim. I mean, it's
but,
just.
you have to give credit to the Stars. They came out and actually put together a game plan that addressed our tiredness, right? So they did a good job with that. And having said that, I still think that the game hung in the balance enough that we could have capitalized. I had a couple chances I feel like I'm not too pleased that I missed. And we had some very, very good looks. So, on another night that we're a little bit fresher, I think those balls go in. But, I mean, listen, if you would have told, I think even the coaching staff, maybe, if you would have told everybody that you're going to play 3 games in 6 days, including a back-to-back with travel, waking up at 4 a.m. to get on a plane the next day, and you could go 2-1. And barely lose the 3rd game with some major injuries and absences, I think that's probably not the worst week of soccer that's happened.
Yeah, I mean, and exactly that. Can you talk me through what were your biggest takeaways from this weekend where, maybe a team cohesion standpoint, you saw some players that got their first goal, first contributions. What were your biggest takeaways from this weekend?
Yeah, I think this week for me was particularly, I think, positive. I think it's been hard for me to acclimate to the style of play. And this last week, I felt like I was more involved, more confident, more understanding of the areas that I can help affect the match. So for me personally, although the Sunday result was disappointing, I think it was a positive step in the right direction for me in terms of understanding my role and maybe finding areas that I could be impactful. So, I listen. I'm not averse to losing. I think losing is actually a good thing when required. I think that the Stars losing 8-0 to us probably was the best thing that could have happened to them early on in the season in terms of like a wake up call and a chance to readdress. I'm sure that as you guys were talking about, Empire's had plenty of opportunities to readdress. And I think we do too. I mean, we've got absences and injuries, and I think it's noticeable.
Along those lines, Nick, I'll just actually flip-flop the questions on the menu here, Tony, just for game flow, because you mentioned it. It's something that we've really paid attention to as the commentators and observers, analysts for this team, that in the first couple 3 matches, there really wasn't a lot going through the forward position. It was midfielders scoring goals, and Drew had one, and you had one that Leo fed you in Empire, and that was it. So, like, again, like you said, if at the beginning of the week, they said, hey, you're going to get 6 out of 9 points, but Nicky's going to start to find the spot on the left corner, and he's going to start to figure the flow. Tavoy's going to get a couple goals. Craig's going to get a goal, and he's going to get the monkey off his back. Do you feel like the team is starting to figure out how to use you guys?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? I mean, it's an interesting one for me, having been somewhat of a focal point in the attack, to be playing with so many players that don't always need a target, and that's like a little bit different. They kind of don't always need it. I mean, you see Charlie's goal against Milwaukee. I think Tavoy lays the ball off to him, and then Charlie takes 7 or 8 touches on his own, inside, outside, inside, outside, inside, outside, and then buries it top corner. You don't really need the target for that, So I think there's a little bit of an ebb and flow of some players get hot at a certain portion of time, and that's your time to maybe just sit back post and watch them. Other times they need you more, and I think the game will dictate it. But I do think that the targets have felt like we can do more. And so this week, it was important for us to get some goals. Although Craig will tell you that his goal and Tavoy's goal were only when all 3 targets were on the field, or 2 targets were on the field at least. So that was his sort of claim to it. But I think it's a matter of time. It's a time issue, and all of us as fans, as players, get very impatient when things don't happen immediately. But I think it's clicking in the right direction, and things are going to get better and better. The more that we know each other, the more that we understand each other, the more that they know how I play, and the more that I understand how they play. And I think on Sunday I got the ball a lot, so I felt very happy with it. Granted, we didn't have the most loaded roster that we maybe have had this year, but I felt like we were finding our flow.
Yeah, and I mean, and part of this too, as you mentioned, and the losing and the learning aspect part of a game too has taught you quite a lot. But what for you were the personal feelings going back up to the Pacific Northwest and facing Tacoma this time around?
Yeah, it was a strange one. It's hard because that was the place of business for me for a long time, right? I was up there for 8 years, working in numerous capacities, playing, coaching, general managing, running the ticketing, doing all that stuff. So it was a little bit of a, there was like the fog of war all over. It was kind of confusing and stuff, but it was very cool to see the team. It was very fun to go up there. Obviously the result, I would have much rather it be different. And then you realize that life moves on, I think when I was up there, I always, you hear all these people that are talking about MASL be like, what's this team going to look like without Nick and Chris? And it's going to be completely different. Life moves on. They've moved on, my life has moved on. Their lives have moved on. Tremendous respect for one another, but, difficult to play against guys. It was actually kind of funny because I'd be on the bench and I'd see a ball being played to player A, B, or C, and I know exactly what they're going to do. Although defensively, maybe I'm not the best at actually doing it myself, but I know what they're doing because I've seen it 3,000 times. So I was kind of like, no, he's going left or he's going right. Don't worry, he's not shooting. A couple boos when I came out, which was surprising. I was surprised. Couple boos, but that's okay. I think most of it was in jest.
Well, compared to the road reception, it was a tremendous home reception on both Tuesday and Saturday. Over 4,000 in the house Saturday night for the Fox Sports game. And Tuesday night was City SC night. And an opportunity to see your club's colors on your kit and on the team, and for the boys to come out the way. How just happy were you, kind of like Proud Papa style, for City SC night?
Yeah, it was really cool. City SC San Marcos, obviously out there, and I kind of threw the idea at Phil of like, hey man, can we do something like this? And he was immediately on it. So it worked out really well. I think we had 750 representatives from our club. The Parade of Champions down there was packed, right, with kids. They watched a home win and a crazy shutout on top of it. So the reception we had was fantastic, and it kind of all work together really nicely. It's one of those ones where you go into the game feeling like there might be a bit more pressure on me in this game than I'm used to, because if things go poorly, right, like it means more than just the soccer's lost. It means that there's a lot more. But it worked out really well, and everybody that's come to the games, I've been getting emails and texts and calls about it, just so excited about the event. So it was perfect, I thought.
I mean, I sense that you're getting your cup filled in that way as well. But I mean, the veterans are really pulling through for the Sockers right now. And, what is it like being that veteran presence and having to really push this team forward, and, with so many injuries, especially with on the squad?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that, I'm not fully embedded yet into the club culture. Like, I'm still working my way into it, right? It's going to take some time. I've only been here, when you really think of it, I've only played 5 games. So that's, less than a quarter of the season. I know I missed the Milwaukee game, but I'm still very much embedding myself in it and trying to acclimate into culturally and also on the playing side. So it'll take some time, but obviously this weekend was a big one. I think I was the oldest field player on the field on Sunday night, trying to run around with guys that are half my age now, that were fresh. So I'm actually pretty pleased with the overall effort. Obviously, I really, the last goal that we gave up, I kind of made a decision that was not the best, to run forward instead of running backward. And that definitely hurt us. But I think it's important that the players, the younger players, are able to kind of see the examples day in, day out of training, day in, day out of how you take care of your body and how you train. I think, I don't know, I always try in training to do everything that's asked of me. I help pick up cones. I help pick up bibs. I just think it's an important role model for everybody coming through to know that that's a big deal. And whether they want to absorb it or not, I'm still going to do it. So that's just kind of how I am.
Nicky, before we let you go, obviously this weekend, it doesn't get any easier at all. When I was talking to Brian on the broadcast over the week, he said that in his opinion, the single toughest back-to-back was Baltimore to Utica, because of the bus travel, the length of the time, and the fact that Utica always plays like a day game on a Sunday after you play a night game in Baltimore. Well, here you go. Right after playing 3 games in 6 days and doing maybe the second toughest back-to-back, which is San Diego to Tacoma, here you go with the Baltimore Utica trip. You're going to start by playing on a basketball court that is, dressed up as an indoor field. And then you're going to go to the blue turf with a long bus ride. You're not going to have Seb. You're not going to have Luis. They, along with Gabby, are in Brazil, as far as I know, unless you can tell me something that's brand new and exciting, in which case we'll break some news. So, I mean, this is a whale of a challenge, man. This weekend is really something.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think if you isolate games and you look at them, on their own, you would think, well, we're picking up 2 wins, right? Like, we're going to go to Baltimore, we're going to give them hell, and then the next day, or a week later, we're going to play Utica in isolation, no problem. In terms of no problem, they're a very good team. They're both very good teams, but we can handle that, a one-person task. I think the hard part with back-to-backs is always, the strategizing of it. Are you going to throw everything at Baltimore because you want to win the front game, knowing that the back game is going to be very difficult? Or do you hold something in reserve? Like, there's a lot of strategy there that I think is difficult. But in terms of what you're going to play, I think you're going to play 2 teams that are extremely confident in their own building, and both have very strong followings, and both probably think this is a great chance to come beat a team that maybe over the years they have not beaten a tremendous amount of times. So From our perspective, I think it's a really, really big task. And then you add in injuries, you add in absences, you add in all the things, you add in the travel. I think it's a 3 p.m. kickoff in Baltimore, so the game will finish around 5:30. You got to eat something and get in the bus. You're probably getting in around 1:30, 2:30 in the morning to Utica, and then you play at noon. So in terms of your preparation, the body, it's not really possible, to be honest with you. It's not healthy, and it's not possible. And neither was this last weekend. But again, it's what we have. Every team is going to have tough schedules, so that you just have to chalk it up. And I think the days of 24-0 regular seasons are kind of gone now, for everybody. I think that's gone. So for the better of the league and the better of the sport, by the way, that's gone. I don't personally subscribe to the idea that 24-0 is in any way good for our sport. I think that shows that there's a landslide at some level, and that there's like people collecting. I think that 16-8 is about as good as it should be, because you should have some really hard games. And every league is judged by parity. You know, when I was working in the NWSL, they said it was the best league in the world because at any given day, anyone can beat anybody. And I think that's what indoor soccer fans want, is to know that their team stands a chance. So it's going to be a really tough weekend. Hopefully we can get some healthy bodies back. But whatever, it's part of the road. And as we all know, it all kind of, please don't quote me or misquote me or misunderstand me, it doesn't mean that much once you get into the playoffs. Your regular season schedule means nothing. You're 24-0 and then you drop the first game like Monterrey did, it means nothing. So it's about getting yourself to the playoffs in the healthiest position possible, with the best sort of on-field chemistry happening possible, and arriving at the moment when you're on the high. So if you keep that in mind, then it's not the end of the world if you drop a game that you don't feel like you're supposed to.
And getting the right pizza, at Towson University at the right time. Hopefully a clean bus ride. There's a lot of variables there. It's pretty wild. But Nick, always, man, such thoughtful answers. Always really love talking soccer with you. Appreciate you. Fans appreciate you being here. Best of luck this weekend. Stay healthy, big fella. Stay on those big old legs, because we need you down the stretch, and this is going to be a whale of a month. So keep it rolling. Before we go, can we talk about the goal that I got that was disallowed? Okay, because we just watched. Did you touch it with your arm?
No. No.
We already here.
So here's the deal. I'll give you my opinion, and then I will sign off. Okay.
Go right ahead.
My opinion is, I know it didn't hit my hand because I was there,
right?
But because my hand is in front of me like this, it hits me in the stomach. It looks like my hand is in some way involved. It's not. But here's the part that I feel like was the ruling that I feel like was questioned. The question I have is, when the referee on the field rules a decision, the understanding I had of video review is that it has to be clear and irrefutable evidence to contradict the call on the floor. Right? Isn't that the ruling?
Yeah, that clear and obvious. Yes, absolutely.
Clear and obvious. So to me, I can't watch that video and have clear and obvious and irrefutable evidence that it hit my hand. No. So in order to change that decision, I feel like is difficult. And here's the crazy part about indoor soccer. We won the game. So no big deal. But that would have made it 3-0 leading into halftime. And 3-0 at halftime is very different to 2-2 at halftime. So the flow of that game could have very well been similar to what happened against Tacoma if it goes 3-0 instead of 2-2. We were up 2-0, you go 3-0, it's a little different. But then they get a goal back, they squeak another one back, 2-2, and all of a sudden you're in a game. So it is crazy how little plays like that influence it. But I just thought, since the MASL posted it and wanted the fans to vote, I'm a fan, so my vote is I didn't touch my hand. There you go. There it is.
Yeah, you got done in by the frame rate, Nick. I said it at the time. You were done in by the frame rate. And I think a 4K camera is going to go ahead and leave you clean, and unimpeachable on that play. I couldn't believe it, but Ryan will get a chance to defend himself on Friday on Under Review. And, he and I have not seen things the same at matches in the past. Like, for example, when the head coach of Chihuahua threw our defensive captain in a headlock over the boards at the end of the first half, and then he told me to my face afterwards that it didn't happen. And I was like, oh, who am I going to believe? You or my lying eyes?
Yeah, I had a great chat with Ryan. He was super upfront and we had a great talk about it. And he said on the video, it hit your hand. And I said, I'm sorry, Ryan, but I saw the same video you did. I don't think it hit my hand. And he said, the frame I saw, it hit your hand. And the angle I had, I don't think you had. So I saw it hit your hand. And then I said, but Ryan, you were 3 feet from me when it happened. So you could tell if it hit my hand or not, because you were looking right at me. So anyway, it was actually a lot of fun banter with the fans. I went over there after. I was like, hey, did you guys see it in my hand? And they said no. So it was fine. It was all good. It would have been a nice moment at home to get that first sort of at front wave to get
especially
that
on a lovely
goal.
Solo turn like that. Like as I said on the highlight reel, the goal I've seen Nick score like 75 times in his career.
Yeah, I like that goal, but. Anyway, it was a fun aside. And Ryan texted me the next morning, and I said, I hope that you've had nightmares from that call that you made on me last night and could barely sleep, because I couldn't. So that's how that conversation went. But anyway, that's amazing. My vote. My vote is it didn't hit my hand.
Nick, thank you so much, buddy. Have a good rest of your night. All the best to the fam, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bet. Oh, that was funny.
Oh, I saw him with the ball. There was a kid. He's like, it's going to be yours here if it's a goal. But I saw just him do the math of like, they're not going to call this. And he just gave the ball back. Ball and just, went about his day.
Tough. And the truck was telling me in my ear, oh no, it hit his elbow. Oh, it hit his elbow. So I'm like, okay, I went with what they're telling me. But when I saw it live, I thought there was no chance. And on the first replay, I was like, nope, that should be over. It should be a 5-second review, and then it comes back the other way.
The player's never going to outright say, "Oh yeah, no, it did hit my hand, guys. Great call." But come on, like,
look,
it's true.
I love Ryan.
Either way,
yeah, I love Ryan. He is a great guy. He is a tremendous human being. He's a really good direct, head of officials. He is a great sport, and I truly appreciate that. And look, Serta got headlocked on April 20th. I'm just, I'm big on facts. It's just a weird sticking point I've had my whole life. I'm big on facts. And that's a thing that actually happened. So anyways, I'm not going to give it up. I'm not going to let it go. So sorry. Never going to let it go. just like, to be very fair, I've never let go of the call in the Front Wave Arena opener.
Yeah.
Because Kelvin scored. Kelvin scored and we lost. But then they just gave us a second chance and then we won. So, all gifts will be accepted. Okay, let's keep the show rolling because we're already at 58 minutes or so, 68 minutes. And let's get to the Sockers and the Stars on Sunday. And first game all year that the Sockers don't score first. By the way, right there, that right there, they called us the 2000th save for Boris Pardo.
Spectacular.
And technically, it was. Technically, it was because if he's not there, it's a goal. Now that could have been a goal. One of two different tries that Drew Ruggles had on the night for his 100th goal that came up a little empty. Here is goal number one. This is just truly clear signs of fatigue, even at 10:41 in the first, as the rebound is allowed to sit in the crease, and guys are slow to the upkeep. And as such, Perera here gets an assist for just kind of stumbling over the ball, but it comes out and Juice Cox is there for 1-0. Difficult, bit of a harbinger, and I'm grading this entire tape on a curve, to be honest with you, for the insanity of it.
Yeah, no, this is the type of play that I was expecting against Empire in game 2 of the weekend, and the fact that it didn't happen is incredible on its own. But this magnificent replay of the save.
There it is, folks. Nick, good chance. as Nick said, ball went through him a lot by necessity in this night as he's not running in threes. Here's good chance for Estrella to get his first goal. One of the 3 young players that was signed for the San Diego Sockers. Same spot. Nick has a chance. Birrueta finds it in his legs. And now we get to Tavoy Morgan. Classic Tavoy. Oh, I haven't seen that in a month of Sundays. That's the goal we want to see from Tavoy. 1 sharp, decisive play, 1v1 coverage, and 1-1 the score.
And that's the consistency that I want to start seeing from Tavoy is real contributions and just regaining that smile. And it seems like for whatever reason, it just hasn't been working for Tavoy. But when he gets that motion going and that momentum going for himself, he's a different player. And I really want him to go ahead and just start enjoying his time on the floor a little bit more. And he's going to be rewarded with things like that.
1-1 will become 2-1. Again, you can see Nick very much a focal point. And as that ball deflects off a Stars player, Adrian Reyes, welcome to the San Diego Sockers. You get your first MASL goal in the second quarter of your first ever match, probably your 3rd shift total. And here's 2-1 San Diego.
That's just Nick knowing every single bump and divot in that wall and just playing so long that I know what to do in this situation. Somebody has to be here. Boom, finds whoever it may be, and is fortunate to see a debuting goal there.
2-1 could have been 3-1. Good save by Birrueta there, and Tavoy had it on frame. 2-1 could have been 3-1, and good save by Birrueta there. Perera had it on frame. Pardo keeping up on the other side to hold the lead at 1. Another great chance. And hey, 1 bad road game for Luis Birrueta, but he has had 4 very good games at home. Right there, Nani Mendoza left unmarked in the middle of the crease. Correa is able to dribble drive on 2 Sockers right there, including Cesar Cerda, and is able to cross the ball and center it. 2-2 is your score. And once again, not wonderful, but it is what it is. Here could easily be 3-2. The choice was made right there. Choice didn't work out for Tyler John. Tried to wall pass to himself. Boris was able to gobble that up. Pardo versus John would be a thing as the week and the game continued. Here, Nick draws a foul. Another great save. Birrueta coming off of his line. And then able to get his paws on that one. Point blank there. Does enough to slow it down for Kai Briscoe to clear. Sockers had back-to-back power plays. Here's the start of the second one. Kyle Rivers commits reckless tackles, slide tackles, back-to-back. One at the end of the second quarter, one at the start of the third quarter. And this, to me, was the canary in the coal mine for the result, Tony, was back-to-back power plays for the Sockers, and they didn't score on either one.
Yeah, it's those plays where you really need the best of the best out there being on form because it's not easy to score on power play situations, right? You have 4 players who are literally there to give their bodies and everything to you not scoring in these 2 minutes. And it really takes a special finesse and chemistry from the team to really be able to finish plays, right? There should have been somebody closing even after in those moments here after the power play, but it's not good when you're not necessarily not following through with those chances and opportunities in these games.
Sockers thought there was a foul behind that play. Here's what you see. That's what they thought, is that Nestor Hernandez handled the ball. I don't know if that was an unnatural position right there, but it was debatable. Now, here's what we do know. Kai Briscoe has a steal, and there's literally no one back. And Cesar sees it, and Cerda does the only thing he can do, which is sweep tackle the guy and take his chances on a shootout. Tries to get no chance. Absolutely no chance. Is he just going to let him go, or is he going to drop him? Cesar drops him. Shootout, Nani Mendoza, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, nothing for Boris to do there. And Cesar Cerda making the decision that you would normally see a fatigue player doing in a fourth quarter of a game. But again, it's a third quarter. Everybody's just broken down at that point, exhausted on fumes.
That play you just saw, as here is the third goal for San Diego. Nick, hold. Nope, not you. Hold. Yeah, you. Okay, go. let Nick hold the ball like 10 seconds, 1v1. He's like, I don't want that. I don't want the green line. Let me wait for the orange line to come by. Oh, there it is. Orange line. Goal. 3-3. Unbelievable. But the rest of this is all Tacoma, as the Sockers are truly gassed and the defense just starts to evaporate. All of these 3 minutes, 45 seconds, Tacoma has the ball, other than like 2 touches. Here, again, wrestled away. Now Nicasio, now Morales just loses Tyler John, lets him get behind him. Boris is coming out to cut the angle. And John, who had missed earlier and then thought he was kicked, probably was. Usually when people think they were kicked, it's because they got kicked. Kicked by Boris, and then the two of them had words. And then John missed a chance, and they had words. And then there was the 2v0 that we saw late in the third quarter that Boris kicked away. Here, Tyler gets to have a laugh as he gets a back post tap in. And, Drew is standing on that play. Luis let the guy get behind. Not a lot good to say. Nothing good to say about goal number 5, which is not here. That could have been a goal. Mitchell Cardenas saves a goal. Here, Sockers are on the other side trying to tie it. Pirueta gets the kick save. Second chance is no good. And Sockers don't find the equalizer on this side of the floor. And then here they come the other way. It's 2v1. Now it's 2v0. And a terrible pass by Cox sends John into the wall. And probably they're talking there. But somehow 3 Sockers, and Nick said it, he made a bad decision on that play. 3 Sockers all go for Correa at the exact same time with the ball. And that just leaves Jamel Cox alone and unguarded in front of the net. But the fact was that they were able to have a 3v1, 2v0 rush down the floor, completely flub it, miss it, wait, collect the rebound, recommit. Like right here, there should be 2 Sockers to take the ball away. Instead, oops, just nightmare sauce. And, anything you want to say about, the keeper, blah, blah, blah. You can't say anything. Are you kidding me? Those last 2 goals are back post tap-ins for players that were left unmarked. Everyone gets grumpy because John mouthed off again and Pardo had words for John again. Meanwhile, at this point, Luis Pirueta has left the game with an injury, and Danny Waltman has to come in and take over for him in net. Last year's backup to Boris at the end of the season. So you're even at 5-3, even with the team on the back-to-back and everything else, at this point, Tony, I'm like, I don't think this is over right now. Like, honestly, I thought this little break here for everyone to, piss and grumble was probably good for the team. And then here comes San Diego. They're going to go 6th attacker. Danny makes a save. Very nicely done. Charlie keeps things alive. This could have been obviously a goal. Incredible tackle by Cesar Serra. Just as clean as the cleanest thing you've ever seen. Mr. Clean. And then get right back into it as Luis Morales hits just bombosa. The golazo definition is that shot by Luis Morales right there.
That was just, he had it personal with the back netting of the net and just wanted revenge. And, it's just an incredible shot, just so little space, so little time to make such a maneuver and just generate so much power the way that he's able to do it. And again, like that was just the instinctual, just like the Cesar said of the save, an instinctual play for Morales there.
Critical call right here with 3:10 left in the fourth quarter. Tavoy is fouled deep in the crease. Does this not deny an obvious scoring chance? That's the decision of the officiating crew because they do not rule a shootout. They do not rule a penalty. They just rule top of the arc. And just wide by Nick. And, right there, that could be the equalizer. If it's a shootout, obviously, it's a much better chance. Sockers still get one more great chance. And Chase Hansen denies the hat trick for Morales, denies a point, maybe 2 points, maybe a road result for San Diego with that great running clearance. Here's the true last chance saved by Waltman on a point-blank shot by Nick. Well shot, well placed. This one's a little wide for Luis. Still alive with 5 seconds. You got to give him one more chance, right? There it is. Easily deflected away, and that's that for San Diego. So 5-4 Tacoma, the final in that one. Stars get the win. They match their best ever start in modern history at 4-1 for the 4th time, I believe, in franchise history. Could be the 5th. It's the 4th or 5th time. I know one time they went 13-7, and every other time they've gone 500 when they get off to a 4-1 start. And while we're about to transition to MASL news, to me, it's very, very straightforward to look at what's gone on with Tacoma. Yes, they've moved on. But to my dear friend Phil Ivanko, who presented the Ewing theory for Tacoma, bruv, no. Tacoma is not playing better because they don't have Nick Perera, and so they all play for one another as a collective. Tacoma is playing better because Baltimore is a small-sided team that came out to play their first 2 road games of the year on a big-sided field and lost 2 close games. And then you've had back-to-back lying-in-wait advantage games where you got to take on a Strikers team the night after they played St. Louis at home. And you got to take on a Sockers team the night after they played Empire at home. And you have, like, arguably the single best home field advantage that you could have in the current sport. So, no Ewing theory for the Tacoma Stars. Lying in wait theory is it. Tacoma's 4-0 at home. And you could make, I think, a fairly logical argument that they had a substantive advantage in all 4 games. Just every team has a road advantage over Baltimore when they get off of their basketball court. And teams lying in wait against teams that have to fly 3-4 hours to get to you the morning of the game, you're supposed to win those games. You're supposed to win those games. And Tacoma did. And credit to them. And credit to the Stars. The Stars are ahead of the Sockers in the standings. And they have a win over San Diego now. But I'm sorry. You're going to have to win some games on the road for me to entertain Ewing theory or Karl Anthony Towns theory or Mitchell Robinson theory or give me any Nick Center theory that you want to give me along the way. Like, you got to win some games on the road for me to believe in Tacoma.
Yeah, and not get blanked on the road as well. Like, to be able to generate some sort of offense. And it's incredibly early in the season, and there's so many nuances in the schedule, like you mentioned, that there's a story to be told, not just on face value stats. Again, 3-0 looks good on paper, but is this sustainable? Are they peaking? You heard it from Nick Perera, right? Like, the regular season, to a degree, matters. It's important, but does it matter in playoffs once you're there? Not really. You need health, and you need to peak at the right times, and that's where the Sockers mentality is right now, right? I'm not panicking for the, what would it be, 5th place currently where they stand. I'm not panicking at all. Like, they haven't played 10 games like other teams. Like, it's just
right.
Like, talk to me then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're getting there. And just to wrap up my overall thoughts on the week, Boris Pardo had the best week of anybody in a Sockers uniform by far. And really showed the club and their fans and everyone else that he can hold the fort waiting for Chris to get back. Getting the forwards involved was really important, but a big takeaway for me this week is the importance of the M&M boys to the San Diego Sockers. These are the young legs and the explosive talents that you just can't replicate at the end of your career. You can have all the knowledge and skill in the world, but if you don't have the explosiveness and the burst and the freshness and the ability to recover, it's hard. And Morales matters. So, while they did lose for the first time with Luis in the lineup on Sunday, he got 2 goals in the game and was like pretty much the only reason they were in the game offensively. And they weren't generating great chances through the tired veterans on the team. It was the young guys that helped create chances on Sunday. So for everything that happened at the beginning of the year with Luis Morales and the idea of like, can we only fly him in for big games? Hired gun, ringer, essentially. Like, I don't see it. I think they need him. I think they need him to get where they, and in the regular season, I think they need Luis Morales. So that might be a decision that the Sockers have to come to along the way, is that they're just going to have to do what it takes to get Luis Morales on the field regular time. And then the very last thing, Tony, is something that's pretty obvious, but this club is not built to play back-to-back travel games. Like, it's just not. You've got a 41-year-old in net, a 41-year-old at forward, a 39-year-old at forward. You've got 37-year-olds up and down the lineup. You've got like a dozen guys on the wrong side of 30. And the youngest players on the team are in Brazil now. So other than rookies who will be playing in their first or second ever game this coming weekend, you're going to have all aged legs on the floor. Like, the youngest guy might be like Charlie at 32 or 33. So it's a daunting task for a team that's let itself raise its average age to where it is. When your young guys are gone and you're asked to play a back-to-back like Baltimore Utica, like, honestly, that's a very difficult task. And I think the biggest part that I take away from what Nick said, Tony, in the playoffs, you usually, I'll cross my fingers and knock on wood, you don't play back-to-back. You don't play travel back-to-back in the playoffs. That's just a regular season phenomenon. So when we see this weakness, within the Sockers roster, it's only to be exploited the 4 times that San Diego has play back-to-back. That was number 1, and they lost the back-to-back game. Number 2 is coming on Sunday, and we'll see how they do against Utica.
And it's also important to see, you mentioned Mendez, Morales, and Costa going to South America, right? What are they going to find when they come back? Like, what are they going to find? You're going to find tired legs. You're going to see the players that have, kept the lights on for the Sockers while in their absence. And if they come back and are saying, "Hey, I need a break," what is that going to do to the chemistry? And I'm very big on team chemistry with this team specifically, because when it's on, it's on. You see what Empire is kind of struggling with, and their mental aspects, where too many men on the floor a couple times. They get caught off guard in rookie mistakes, and nobody knows where everybody's at, right? You're signing 3 young players who haven't necessarily adapted. If a veteran like Nick Perera just said, like, "Hey, I'm here for 5 games for the time that I've been here, I'm still coming in and acclimating to the Sockers." What chance does a younger player really have from separating himself from training, then coming back and having to fill in the shoes of a tired veteran who's been holding it down? There's not going to be that chance to really meld and be the best version of the Sockers that we can possibly hope.
Indeed. But does it diminish my thoughts on the club overall? No, it doesn't. In fact, it's just, to me, a regular season reinforcing point. It's not one that necessarily is relevant come playoffs. So, with 6 teams out of 8 making the playoffs, all you have to do is not be 7th and 8th, and you're in the playoffs. And obviously, you'd much rather have home field, and especially Front Wave, which has got good crowds. Is really, you've got the chance to have San Diego behind you. You get a lot of advantages to be at home. The Sockers want to be at home. They don't want to finish 5th, and never have home field in the playoffs. But with that said, if they did finish 5th, it doesn't matter that much compared to having the top end talent and being good and healthy and right at the end of the year. The Sockers couldn't be more the opposite of that right now. They've got like 10 guys hurt. It's absolutely crazy, the level of injury that they've got right now. So to do all of this travel, 6 games in the month of January on the road, 2 of them travel back-to-backs, I think it's just about as bad what happens at the end of this, with a Thursday night game at Toyota Arena on the 22nd of January, and then you fly to Baltimore again and you play on Saturday the 24th, it's not back to back, but you're flying across the country for a Baltimore team that'll be lying in wait on the other side. So the league has scheduled the Sockers to lose 4 times this month. And I don't know that they will lose 4 times, but the Sockers have been scheduled to lose 4 times by the way the league's AI program set up the schedule this year.
Yeah, I mean that's almost just irresponsible to do for the parity, right? They're doing things to move the league forward, but you have to be able to be fair across the board. And again, this is a technically built-in excuse, but like you said, I don't think the Sockers are going to take those excuses by any measures, and they're going to go and compete. And I think they have a really good chance to come back. And look, in that Baltimore game, I want some players to get flashes of playing on a mini pitch of Chihuahua and just unleash just any sort of anger. And you don't have Chihuahua to play at a corner sport arena, but you have Baltimore. You can recreate some things and hopefully get a victory there. But it's absolutely brutal, especially for the recovery aspect for a lot of these players. We know it. Sometimes it just takes longer. The more we age to get out of bed, and we didn't play an intense indoor soccer match of the night before. And it's a testament to the level of professionalism and the level of athletes that are part of the San Diego Sockers and the players of the MASL as well.
Absolutely. So with that, let's keep things rolling. And we talked about it, but I just want to reinforce the fact that the Sockers had to sign 3 young players last week because of the injury situation for this club. Andrew Estrella and Adrian Reyes both made their debuts on Sunday in Tacoma. Hilariously, Marcel Sanchez, who is the youngest of the group, he's 18 years old and has been training with the Sockers for a 3 weeks. He got hurt in his trial. They signed him as an injured player. So it's just like,
we need some depth on the injury list, guys. We need some youth in there.
Let's get some more. In order to put them on the roster, Ben Raymond, Luis Ortega, Pee-wee, and Matt Herlo put on the injured reserve list. Ben is dealing with a sore back that has really been bugging him. And, I've been talking to him because he's been in Super Soccers the last 2 games. And each time it's like making sure that there's nothing too strenuous that could affect Ben, physically, because as I know very well, and anyone over 30 knows, sore backs are no joke. And if you don't deal with it right, it can just keep lasting and get worse and worse and worse and worse. So, hey, frustrating situation for the Sockers, but those 3 guys are not alone by a mile. The Sockers' whole dang team, outside of the guys who are in the starting lineup, are pretty much hurt right now. You look through the entire squad, and it's pretty wild. Hang on, I'm pulling it up. Here we go. Chris Toth, broken finger, 8, 10, 12 weeks, depending. Nate Lindquist now is the backup to Boris Pardo. He's yet to play a minute in the league. He's not going to play a minute in the league unless Boris takes a penalty or gets hurt. The Sockers are just going to play Boris Pardo at 41 every minute of every game through the month of January. And whatever effect it may have on him in March, it's going to be like, well, Chris is back. And hopefully it's taken that way, as like, I ran with this torch for so long, and here, let me hand it to you while I get a chance to rest. That's the way, hopefully it works very much to the benefit of the Sockers. But Chris Toth is a massive injury because Boris is 41. And if he went out on Sunday and got hurt, now it's Lindquist, and who's backing him up?
Parentheses, cries ensnare Williams.
Right. And Xavier's like waving, going, hey, they're never playing me here in Utica. Too bad it's a season-long loan, huh? Too bad you can't recall me. Like, I got a string on my back. You can't. He's gone for the year. So that's why, even though Boris had the best week of anybody on the team, it's such a huge injury, because it's the one thing you didn't want to do. It'd be like counting on Craig Childs to go in twos and play every single game. Like, you could do it. He'll do it as long as he can, but it's not going to last forever. And even if he stayed healthy, it could have a negative effect on the end of the year. So that's where they are in net, and that's just the way it's going to be. Meanwhile, Taylor Bond is out with a back. Back. Ben Raymond is out with a back. Keiko Gontan is out with a leg. Marcel Roknapor, who was signed to be depth and to show up in a spot like this, he's got a bad foot. He can't play. Matt Harlow was signed to be depth for a time like this. He's got a bad foot. He can't play. Quentin Ivey's been waiting for a moment like this to be able to get into the lineup and contribute. He's got a bad leg. He's in a cast. He can't play. And then Costa's out, and Mendez is out, and Morales is out. Juan Salazar had been out with a foot. He just came back. Played sparingly, was on the field, it must be said, for a couple, 3 of the goals allowed in his very limited playing time on Sunday. And Leo is managing an injury. So even if you see Leo in the lineup, he's playing hurt, and he's doing the best he can and trying to manage something that could bother him all year long. So that's wild. And, even to say like, oh, well, you've got an older team, you got to expect injuries. Like, this is all the young guys.
Yeah. They don't make them like they used to, I guess.
It's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. It's a rash. It's an absolute rash. And to have it happen this month, like I was around Gulls teams in the AHL where the Ducks got a bunch of injuries and they called up 3 guys from the team, and those are like the 3 best guys on the team. And then the team takes 6 injuries, and all of a sudden you just look up and you're like, half this roster's from a team in Tulsa in the East Coast Hockey League. Like, I don't recognize the team. Like, you're not that far from a situation like that for the Sockers where Adrian Reyes is on the power play. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, it's like, it's such an injury situation. And then you put the travel on top of it, and then you put the back-to-backs on top of it. And the Sockers are in a spot where a 500 month wouldn't be the worst month for the season. I know they want to win 4 out of 6 on the road trip at least, but they're 0-1 right now. And it's just ridiculous as we look at these standings. I guess Utica's rebranding for the weekend. We get to play the Riggies, not the Utica City.
Okay. This is how they're going to trot out Xavier for the first time as a Riggie.
As a Riggie.
Never played as a Utica player. Just he played as a Riggie.
We signed him to be the Riggie's goalkeeper. And only the Riggie's goalkeeper. Okay, let's look at these standings real quick, and then we'll get out of here. This is the most confusing standings I've ever seen. Here's the Kansas City Comets. They've played 10 games already. Tacoma's played 5. Kansas City's played 10. We're supposed to look at these standings and make meaning out of them? Now, let's break it down further. Kansas City's played 10 games. Who have they played? St. Louis. 6 times. 6 times, 10 games. And, the first 4. And then they lost in a shootout, and they lost it, I think, again in a shootout. But, like, are you kidding me? Kansas City's played 10 games. They've played 6 road games. They've played half their road schedule, but all those games are St. Louis. They had the Baltimore Utica trip, and they got smoked in Baltimore, and then they barely pulled out a win in Utica coming from behind. So what does it mean? Kansas City's 6-4. They're at the top of the division. It only means they've played more games than anyone else. Okay, here's Milwaukee. Milwaukee had to start on the road. Milwaukee's had to play a back-to-back. They had to do the Baltimore-Utica trip already. Guess what? They lost to Utica. Really no surprise. But at home, they've won both their games. They'd only lost in overtime before their last game. Are they the best team? How can you tell? Tacoma's 4-1. By percentage, they're the best team. They've got 12 out of 15 points. They've got the fewest drop points in the league. But as we detailed, they have had 4 home games with incredible advantage so far in the season. The one time they've been tested on the road, 8 spit against. Baltimore, 3-2-2. But at home, killing it. Not just winning, blowing people out. On the road, not a lot there. 1 win at Utica. There's the Sockers. What to say about them? We know where they are. There's the Ambush, hanging on to number 6 right now because they beat St. Louis twice, or Kansas City twice. But what do you know about the Ambush? All they've had to play is Kansas City. And they played 6 times, which renders the entire series an abstraction. When you play that many times in that short a period of time, it becomes its own singularity. It's not really even connected to the season. It's like, at that point, every guy knew the color of, or the scent of cologne of every other guy on the teams. So that's wild. And then down here you got Utica. They've played 5 games. Guess what? They've played 4 of their 5 at home, twice with lying in wait advantage. So right now, based on weighting things, I'd probably rank Utica last. Because unlike what's going on with the Sockers and the Comets and Empire, which will start with 7 of 9 away, Utica has gotten to start at home where they've got a huge advantage. They've had back-to-back lying in waits, and they got an overtime win and a win. But that's not a good enough record for them at home. They could be 4-1, like Tacoma is. And then you got Empire, and Empire's got problems right now. But I'll tell you right now, if they're in 8th place with 13 games complete and they're 4-9, they're not out of it. And I'll probably pick them to win a playoff spot because they're going to get to play, just like the Sockers are going to get to play almost all of February and March at home and have like 1 home game a week and get that chance to really build momentum and health. That's what Empire's going to have, at the end of the year. They're just going to have home game after home game after home game to try and build some momentum and some health. This schedule is nuts. And I really think instead of hiring a firm with AI, which stands for always inept, they could have had grandma and grandpa go out there with some yarn and string and some maps and come up with a better schedule. Because the thing about AI, Tony, is it's never gotten up at 2:30 in the morning to board a plane at 4 when it played a game the night before, because it's not a real thing.
That's ridiculous. Looking at the way that Kansas City also plays the Sockers at the end of the season, right? Yes. Similar to how Ambush is doing it. But these results almost don't matter, where those results can matter the most. And not just for them, but just the implications of the rest of the league going into playoffs. Like, it's just poorly designed and not, I guess, moving things forward. I understand the move. I understand why. It's not just because you can doesn't mean you should. And they decided to go with some AI shenanigans and scheduling human beings to do stuff. And that doesn't usually calculate well.
Yeah, I think this schedule is it's so bad. We play Empire 5 times in the first 10 games. We play Kansas City 5 times in the last 6 games. a home road back-to-back with Kansas City. How dumb is that? Only a computer could imagine that would be okay. Any human would look at that and go, well, don't do that. Let's figure out a different permutation. And instead that's where we are. So I truly don't think that the MASL will offer any clarity at all. I don't care what advanced stats Joseph Reyna invents and comes up with. I don't care what film study someone else does to break it down. I don't think that these standings will offer clarity at all until maybe the very end of the season. Like the very end of the season. It at that point, you'll be able to say everyone's played 12 home and away and everyone's played one another. But the way that this lays out is just cuckoo crazy. So the Sockers are going to walk into the teeth of it this weekend, my friend. They're going to play the hardest weekend of the year, which is going to Baltimore, playing on the one rinky-dink, non-regulation college basketball court masquerading as an infield. It's not the same game. It's just as extreme as Chihuahua, or worse. Honestly, it's actually a shorter field than Chihuahua. It's just you don't have the elevation to deal with and everything else, and the bad air and everything else. But the one thing I'm going to say in San Diego's favor here, all them old legs, those are vets that don't have as much field to cover on Saturday.
That is true.
I think that actually for an older team like San Diego that's got so much foot skill, so much passing skill, so much awareness, and they can put their defenders, just leave them in the back, basically, and get at it. I like how San Diego matches up with Baltimore on Baltimore's field better than most of the other teams in this league, I think.
Yeah, as long as you're not ball chasing in that match, you should be in pretty good shape for the vets to really find that, they can stand at any given point on this floor and they can make something happen in theory. And, again, just don't gas yourself out. And it is easier to gas oneself out in close quarters like a Baltimore, but there's no real need for that. You don't, you can virtually have a sixth attacker with a goalkeeper because he's perpetually in a midfield since it's so small, right? Like that's essentially how that plays out.
And then you're going to get on a bus and you're going to have to drive about 5 hours to get up to Utica. And, as Nick said, settle in at, maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. And then you're back up and West Coast time, a 12 o'clock game on Sunday, 3 o'clock East Coast time. But, it's the best possible chance for Utica to spring an upset over the Sockers. And I think it's almost a guarantee that Sunday's game will be close. I think it's almost as equal a guarantee that San Diego will trail at some point in the match. But Utica is not at the level skill-wise of San Diego. And the guy that you have to look out for is Sergio Pinal. This is one of these San Jose kids that we've seen in other situations, other tournament situations, and he has come out. He is a big body. He reminds me of Adrian Gutierrez of Turlock. If you're a Sockers fan that's been around long enough and you remember old big number 10, he's more barrel-chested and less barrel-waisted, Sergio. But he's a big guy, and he has done a great job of scoring. And he's kind of like a singular target that they've been using effectively. So that needs to be job one on Sunday, is to erase Sergio Pinal and not let him have a big game against you. And if you do that, you've got a good chance. But Utica doesn't play save the one game. So, for the third time in 6 games, Utica's getting a massive lying in wait benefit and having a good team play. Kansas City did it, Milwaukee did it, and now San Diego. And those might be the 3 best teams in the league. And Utica's gotten lying in wait edge on all 3 of them, in the first month and change of the season. So they need to convert. Like, Utica needs to beat San Diego on Sunday. And a 1-1 trip would not be a disaster for San Diego. It would be okay. But as Nick said himself, Tony, independently, you'd look at these games and say the Sockers will win both games. It's just the nature of the circumstance that makes you think otherwise.
Yeah, and I mean, this is, if they were able to come back, would be galvanizing for a squad that, again, is looking for victories and looking for positives, where you're just given so many drawbacks with injuries. And again, there's nothing you can do as a squad for injuries, and you're looking to kind of welcome those players back from injury from Brazil with it in good standing and, better than you left it, sort of mentality. And that really goes a long way. So if they can then get two victories here, it's going to be very impactful for team chemistry and just overall, just the togetherness of the squad. And if they don't, that's fine. But I at least I want to see that fight. There's no question that there's players who will never back down on the squad, and most of them will be up for the challenge. And there's a way that they can go ahead and do it. And you know what? Don't let the Riggies conjuring themselves in the way that they are, spook you in any way. It's just the
right.
It's just the Riggies. It's
just the Riggies. Just put a fork in them, I'll just say this and we'll wrap. If the Sockers get 6 points this weekend, they should go to the top of the power rankings.
Yeah.
If the Sockers get 6 points this weekend, the Shield is back in play. Like, very much so. The Shield is back in play for Sandy. If they get 3 points this weekend, they survived. They survived. And if they do more than that, it's a good trip. If they get 6, they really did something. And they've put a new look on everything going forward, because you look at the rest of the road trips and you're like, we might be able to go to Milwaukee and get a win. We might be able to handle the Thursday, Sunday. This is the one that is just like, oy, what a tough matchup. And no Mendez, no Morales, no everything. So if they get 6 points this weekend, Katie bar the door. I'm not counting on it, and I'm not going to scold them if they don't. I promise you that. This is the toughest part of any schedule the Sockers have had to face, maybe in the MASL. So let's see how it all goes, brother. And with that, a supersized show with 3 recaps and a great guest can cruise to a finish. Tomorrow, we're doing it again, baby. Cromania.
Yeah, we are. It's back here on SanDiego.Futbol. Catch it every Thursday. Soccer in San Diego. La Casa de Soccer in San Diego. SanDiego.Futbol. Thank you again for joining us and making it so cool. I miss this. I miss Soccer's Overtime. There was so much happening. I was like,
I know.
We should be talking about this. And you know what? I'm glad it came out the way it came out. New year, brand new show, brand new stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve are going to be tough draws for the show anyways.
Yeah.
Even if we wanted to do it, it's kind of a dumb time to do it. So I'm happy we're back as well. Of course, follow the Sockers at San Diego Sockers. You can follow me on Instagram at 619 Sports and Life. Big thanks to Eddie Trujillo for putting together our reels. As always, incredible stuff, putting together all the highlights for us on the show. You can find all of those on YouTube. If you missed any of them, you can go find them at Eddie Bear 60. Padres Hot Tub is back. We're back for the new year as well. And you can find us with new episodes and support us at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. And on Crossing Streams, we just put out the podcast of the top 10 shows of 2025. So if you want to know my list, Chris Reed's list, what we thought were the best shows of 2025, maybe some of the things you missed that you want to catch, find that on the latest episode, number 266 of Crossing Streams, available wherever you're listening to this. That's it. For Tony Sanchez, I'm Craig Elston. Thanks to all you great Sockers fans for being here. Thanks to Nick Perera for being here as well. And until we speak next week, go Sockers!